The perception that people have of ultimate success and ultimate happiness is, it seems motivated by what they don't have, rather than an understanding of what success and happiness really is. This is something I've cultivated for a long time and avoided things that make me unhappy and figured out what those things are and been very rigid about eliminating them from my life. And one of the big ones is eliminating interactions with people that are negative. That is gigantic. And because I've realized that I'm not really as independent as I used to like to think I was. I used to like to think that my thought process was independent. That's nonsense. People say that because they absolutely care what people think and it bothers them. So they say, I don't give a fuck. But that I don't give a fuck stuff is almost entirely nonsense. You do care. And you care in both ways. You care if people are critical of you, care if people are positive of you, but you also care if people are living positive lives and they're motivating you. When you meet these exceptional people that move you, like what are the characters, what are the qualities that they have, what are the characteristics that they possess? And those things become significant and important to you. Whereas if you live around a bunch of people that are complaining and they see the negative in everything and they're always whining, those people are the opposite of that. They're the opposite of inspiration, and they're mud. You're just like, bleh. It's like you're up to your ankles in mud. You try to trudge through life. It's difficult. You're not light. It's not pushing you. There's not a wind at your back. The wind's in your face, and it's rough. And so managing the community and the tribe that you're in, making sure that you're a good member of that tribe, that you're doing your part, and there's a lot of cynicism in these days about inspiration and about motivation because there's a lot of fake. You can go on Instagram and you see a million of these inspirational quote pages, and they're run by people that are probably depressed. You see a lot of people that are, talking about how to get ahead in life, but they're not really doing anything themselves. So there's a lot of cynicism involved in that. But there's also sincerity in it, and you can get, if you just look at it with a pure heart and a pure mind, you can get a lot of energy out of that. And when you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better and you get inspired, and if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled. And it's not just inspirational in terms of financial success, but in terms of doing difficult things, whether it's running 100 miles. It doesn't pay you a goddamn thing other than the wealth of the knowledge that you can push yourself to such an extreme, or anything else, whether it's someone who becomes really good at playing chess or someone who's really good at martial arts or whatever it is. Human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person. Everyone has a different personality. They have different interests, different things that they would be really satisfied pursuing. That's not encouraged. What's encouraged is go find a job because you're in debt, because you have credit cards, because you have student loans, because that's what everybody does. And so you do it too. That's what's wrong. It's like let them figure it out on their own, and it fucking takes forever. It took forever for me. The only thing that I had going for me was that I was crazy, and that I had been spending most of my high school years fighting, so that I was already so far outside of anybody that I was so weird. I knew one thing: I couldn't work like a regular job. Like I had to figure out something else, because there's the idea of, it was literally the idea of being in an office was like torture. If you don't have energy, not only will you not have the energy to pursue things, but you won't be able to do them the same way. If you have energy and enthusiasm and say like you're healthy and you want to write a book, you're going to have thoughts that'll come into your mind that won't come into your mind if you're exhausted. That's huge for anything you're trying to pursue, whether we're talking about furniture making, whether we're talking about being an author, whatever it is. Pretend there's a documentary crew filming your success story and they're following you around right now. What would you do? What would you do if you knew that there was a crew following you around with cameras documenting your future incredible success, and they want to catch you in the act of it all? You would do all the right things you would have to do. Think about that, organize it. But we are saddled down by so many doubts that keeps people from action. Don't be scared of failure. I think failure is awesome for you, and that's one of the reasons why, like I said, I like doing things that I suck at. You know, you could get real complacent if you're really good at something and you only do that thing all the time.
I agree with that. And you're not growing anymore.
Yeah, you're just not challenged. You're not at the bottom of the heap. You know, if you start jiu-jitsu right now and you're a white belt, you're like, oh God, how could I ever get good at this? And it's humbling. But in that humbling thing, you learn about yourself, you learn about discipline, and you build up that engine, that muscle that is trying to work things out and figure things out. It's a good way to look at it. I think there's many, many meanings of life. I think there's a way to navigate life that's enjoyable. I think it requires many things. It requires, first of all, it requires love. You have to have loved ones. You have to have family. You have to have friends. You have to have people that care about you, and you have to care about them. I think that is primary. Then it also requires interests. There has to be things that stimulate you. Now, it could be just a subsistence lifestyle. There's many people that believe and practice this lifestyle of just living off the land and hunting and fishing and living in the woods, and they seem incredibly happy. And there's something to be said for that. That is an interest, right? There's something, and there's a direct connection between their actions and their sustenance. They get their food that way. They're connected to nature, and it's very satisfying for them. If you don't have that, I think you need something that is interesting to you, something that you're passionate about. And there's far too many people that get sucked into living a life where you're just doing a job. You're just showing up and putting in your time and then going home, but you don't have a passion for what you're doing. And I think that's the recipe for a boring and very unfulfilling life. I'm very interested in people feeling good. I like them to feel good. I want to help them. I want my family to feel good. I want my friends to feel good. I want guests to feel good about the podcast experience. You know, I'm a big believer in, as much as I can, to spread positive energy and joy and happiness, and relay all the good advice that I've ever gotten, all the things that I've learned. And if they can benefit people, then I find that those things benefit people and that actually improve the quality of their life, or improve their success, or improve their relationships, or I'm very happy to do that. That means a lot to me. The way we interact with each other is so important. So the more you can spread love and the more love comes back to you, you also create this butterfly effect. And that's one thing that I've done through this podcast, I think, is I've imparted my personal philosophy on in kindness and generosity to other people. So as far as like the meaning of life, that's a bit. Without that, you have nothing. Know who you are. Some people don't have that problem at all. Some people, they could just go for walks and they're cool as a cucumber. I need more. And if I don't get that, I don't feel good. So I figured that out too, and that makes me a nicer person. That makes my interactions nicer. It changes the quality of my friendships and my relationships with people.